Hello, and welcome to the Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Each week, they bring you conversations with local Christian businesses and business owners. Join in every Monday live at 9 a.m. Pacific on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Listen to the program on Spotify or wherever you listen to fine podcasts. The Experience Local is brought to you each week by wonderful sponsors.
10D Tech. 10D Tech delivers fast, friendly, and fully managed IT services for Oregon businesses. No downtime, no tech headaches, just reliable support you can count on. 10dtech.com and call 541-250-3672. Join Boson Hub in supporting KYKN Cancer, empowering individuals and their families to thrive in their cancer journey. Together, we're building a stronger, more connected community. KYKN-cancer.org. Buddy Puckett at Guild Mortgage. Select from hundreds of loan products tailored to your needs. Find the loan to fit your life at guildmortgage.com and call Buddy Puckett at 503-851-8031. Independent Merchant Brokers. Innovative solutions for your payment processing needs. 877-460-4747 and on the web, independentmerchantbrokers.com. Discover Oregon Real Estate. Statewide experts in luxury home sales, farm, ranch, commercial, business sales, and land developments. Call 541-250-1065 and visit them online at dore.llc.
And now, your hosts for the Experience Local, Russ and Scott.
Ta-da! Here we are in the Experience Local, live with Russ and Scott. So excited. It's another Monday, Scott, but this is a start of an amazing week, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We get to meet on the other side of the continent in Orlando, Florida for PodFest 2026, the 12th year. I'm excited because we're going to meet so many people that are new, and we get to see great members of our community like Mike Ashbrainer and Leo York. Just so many people are going to be there.
Yeah, I am just really excited, and it's what a blessing at the opportunity to not only build more community with people, but just to spend some time with my good friend D. Scott. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, we're going to have a good time, and you're going to be flying in, and I'll pick you up at the airport, and we're just going to have a great time.
Yeah, no, very excited, very excited. You know, we are all about community here, and on the Experience Local, we're about local community. And it is so important, everybody, to realize no matter where you are, that there's such a great worldwide community out there, but do not forget about your local community and the people around you, helping and encouraging and supporting their businesses. And you know what? We're all about believers in business, and those people that are believers that are working in your community, even more exciting. For more information, you can go to local.theexperience.video to learn more about us. That has everything about Scott and I pretty much, also about the experience, not only live, but local, and the Waco experience that Scott is doing. Scott, you want to talk about that for a sec?
Yeah, you know, in October, we passed the 1-year mark of the Waco Experience, an American story, broadcasting on KBBW, and then a podcast everywhere. And in fact, that's really the topic that I get to speak on at PodFest. I'm excited to be able to bring that there and just connect to people. We've been having great discussions so far. They have an app, most conferences do now, so that you can connect with people ahead of time so that those few days that you're together, you can actually maximize that time because you've already started those conversations with the introductions and, oh, what do you do? And what do you do? And so forth. Man, it's just been really exciting.
Yeah. And of course, you and I are doing plenty of that, Scott. We are busy going. Just in case people even care, we're you were number 1 and I was number 3 on the leaderboard as far as connecting with people. So that's awesome. But listen, well, I'm so excited to have Paula here today.
Yeah.
And you know what? She is such an amazing woman of God and a local business person that is really inspiring and encouraging people. with godly principles, her and her husband, amazing. And I'm so grateful that we get a chance to talk with her today. Scott, I want to make sure I did not miss anything before we get going, but we do want to remember, we talked about it, but thank you to our sponsors. And thank you also to those of you that support us. We are listener supported also. So you can scan the QR code or you can go to the link in the comments. And we appreciate that because that's how we pay to continue to do this for you guys. Everything costs, including radio, including the things that are, yeah.
Yeah, go to local.theexperience.video. You can see contribute, and that'll take you right to the link. And think of it as a tip jar. We're out on the street entertaining you. Throw a few nickels in there. I'd say pennies, but we don't have pennies anymore. But I say with that, again, thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to Boson Hub and supporting Kicking Cancer, to 10D Tech, the Independent Merchant Brokers, Guild Mortgage, and Discover Oregon Real Estate. All make this thing possible so that we can bring beautiful stories like Paula today.
You bet. You bet. I just want to remind you, this broadcast live at 9 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Texas Standard Time every Monday. But you can watch it on replay on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook where we broadcast. LinkedIn and YouTube forever. And speaking of YouTube, you can go to the experience.video, go straight to our YouTube page. Please subscribe today. We're growing. It is a great place to build community. And so appreciate that. This also, everybody, not only plays on radio, KWIL in Albany, KYKN in Salem, but it also covers to audio podcasts on all major platforms now. Whether you're on Amazon, whether you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, XM Radio, any of those, you will find us. And so thanks so much for listening in. And with that, Scott, I think it's time to get Paula in the room.
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. Paula Newman. Hey, Paula.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Paula.
It is so great to see you, Paula. What a blessing you are. And I was so excited to get you back on because I really look up to you, all that you're doing. We did have an opportunity to see each other recently at the Stephen Curtis Chapman concert.
That's right.
That was so much fun. Paula's a row behind, her and her husband are a row behind my beautiful wife and I. We got a hashtag Russ selfie at the concert.
Yeah.
And I was so blessed to be able to meet Stephen Curtis after the show, which was great. So it was so much fun. But Paula, I appreciate you. Give everybody a little insight. Who in the world is Paula? What are you up to these days?
Yeah, Paula Newman. Thought I was going to be a pastor's wife, and Jim and I have ended up in the pizza business with Figaro's Pizza and now with Schmitza Public House for the last 43 years. It will be March 1st. And so we truly see ourselves as pastors in the marketplace. And we even wrote a book together, Building a Business by Building Relationships. And we are still going. Kids still relate with us, and we are amazed and in awe and just adore them.
Well, we are all about relationships here at the Experience Local. And so, Paula, tell us about the book.
Sure. The book really is our journey, how we got started in even wanting a business, to be business owners. And there was so much about that we liked, that there's no lid to your income. It's really how hard you want to work. And we know as believers, God opens doors and he also shuts them. And God kept opening doors. There was a time when we had 13 stores. Wow. And so how Jim would do it, because I had the privilege of volunteering. I was a Bible study fellowship lecturer for 8 years. But after the kids were gone, that was when I got more involved in the business. So, not only is your income, there's no limit to your income, but employees, you have the ability to influence them. And then I discovered after I got involved in marketing in 2000, I think I got involved in La Tip in Salem. And I realized, oh my goodness, we are part of the community. I am an influencer in the community. It was Salem, and we had 4 stores just in Salem at the time. And what really helped us was when we met with a business consultant, and he showed us so much about communication and our handbook. And so that's what's in the book. And then I also give my testimony because, that is who I am. I am a Christ follower. I realize that my life is not my own. I've been bought with a price. And so I love people in the name and the power of Jesus.
Amen. Oh my goodness. I love that. I think that the older we get, Paula, the more we realize that God's not done with us yet. I mean, he's got so much before us, and the opportunity to minister, I call it, some people call it vocational ministry. You're out there, you're dealing with your business, your vocation, and you're able to minister because that is what we really were meant to do through life. Not everybody is a pastor in a church, but everybody can share the gospel, can share the love of Jesus to people around them. A lot of people that will never go into a church, right? Get an opportunity to do that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And how God has used our faith in business is people will ask us, employees will ask us about something about our faith. They'll open the door. And so I will say, you opened that door, may I walk through it? And then I will start sharing more. And so I'm very careful that way. Although I was telling Russ, Jim this year in one of our stores put little New Testaments in their Christmas stockings. I mean, we also put gift cards, but that was a bold step this year.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I was just thinking back at the time when I worked at Hewlett Packard, and it really seemed like I could be an evangelistic vegan, but not a Christian.
Huh.
And I think that's part of the culture that we have that this is health, right? It's your body, it's all that stuff. And yet we know that there are mental health crises around the world. And really, Christianity isn't a mental health solution, however. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I've just been getting involved in one of the stores. I think it's been a year now. And so I asked our employees about their names. And I just went to the connection I was making with them was about their identity. And I said, do you know what your name means? And every single one of them, if I didn't know it on the top of my head, I looked up what it meant. And one of the employees, she's so adorable. She goes, you know what? Jim may run the business, but Paula, you bring the vibe. That was
a great compliment.
Connection. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, Paula, you and I have known each other for many years now through business. But, we learned early on because I could tell right off the bat, you love Jesus. And, I think that's so important in our lives. I pray every day that God would use me through business and through meetings and everything that I'm doing to glorify him. And I think that's so important. And, you mentioned this before, you've been blessed to be able to do this with your family too, not just Jim, but your kids as well. Talk about the importance of that.
Oh, yeah, that was wonderful, especially in the very beginning. The kids were really little. And so Jim would take them to work with him sometimes. And sometimes he'd put change in the bottom of the sink where dishes were, and he'd have them do dishes, or they could always fold boxes. But and then when we would go on trips, we would be listening to cassette tapes. That's our history. Probably you guys are familiar with those too.
Absolutely.
And the kids learned so much about business to the point that we've been in a business with all three of them at one point. Our daughter, her and her husband, he's former military. They had a sup shop, stand-up paddleboard on Lake Erie in upstate New York. And so that bug was passed on. And then Zach and Ruben, both of our sons, we've owned, Figaro's with Zach, several of them with him. And then Ruben, it was Schmitza. And so, yeah, we've worked alongside Ruben for 10 years at Schmitza. And that's been amazing because we each bring something different to the table. In fact, it became very clear when Ruben was taking more of a stronger role as a leader during COVID, because we had to switch from a restaurant to totally takeout, which we'd done takeout before. But I'll never forget when Ruben assigned me to be on the phone to take orders. And I would see other things and he goes, "Mom, stay in your lane."
There's got to be something gratifying about that, about seeing your children step into this role that has allowed you and your husband to, well, first of all, provide for them, but just that entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes. God blesses the work of our hands. In Genesis, when it began to talk about Adam working, it's a pleasant, wonderful experience. And it's very different when you are the owner and you set the guidelines, you set the atmosphere, you set the tone. And it's made it hard for them to work in other places when somebody else is leading them and they're not the boss calling the shots. So that is challenging in all of our personalities.
Oh my goodness. I believe that so much, that God blesses the work of our hands and all that we do. And Lord, when we instill that in our children when they're young, I really believe that our kids have taken what they saw us do and really use that. A lot of times you can say stuff and you don't think they're listening to you, but when they're paying attention to what you're doing, and then later in life, you see that, sometimes it takes a little bit longer with some. My daughter was always a compliant child who pretty much did everything we said and was fine. My son, it took a little bit longer, but it's funny because now he comes back and talks to dad and asks dad for advice. And I see him doing things that I do, which sometimes terrifies him, but
yeah,
but
something that's really encouraging, because I said at the beginning that Jim and I thought we were going to be pastor, or Jim was going to be a pastor and I would be a pastor's wife. All three of our kids are now pastors. That's Zach awesome. Is an executive pastor over 3 campuses in the Roseburg area. Daniela is a discipleship pastor in a church in upstate New York. Ruben started a recovery group, and he's being trained to be an elder. So that is amazing. Amazing that God did that. Some things we will start and our kids will carry it on to another level. It really is true that they stand on our shoulders. And
I completely agree with that. In fact, I am blessed with we have a very musical family. So everybody has gone into ministry and music. So my beautiful daughter has been a worship pastor and a youth pastor, is still currently here in Salem, Oregon. My son lives in Pasadena as a musician, but played for the Christian band on a Christian label and is, proclaiming the love of Jesus through music to thousands of people. And so really blessed to, have them both following the Lord, and just, really warms a parent's heart, So Paula, your local community, you have been so active. So not only are you are you standing for Jesus personally? Not only is your family involved, but your community, you are so involved in that. What is the importance to community for you? Because I personally feel like God created us for community.
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing that comes to my mind in 2000, I began praying the prayer of Jabez over our family, that God would bless us indeed, that he would expand our territory for his honor and his glory. And wow, has that been the truth? And, you know, you have to be in proximity with people to touch their lives and for them to touch our lives too. And so that, especially with Shemitza, it was so obvious when we began, because we lived in Salem 40 years. So I wasn't as knowledgeable about the nonprofits here in town 10 years ago, like when there were homeless and mentally ill people that were hanging around the restaurant. I didn't know for a while where to send them. But that was important to me, to know where to send people to get help, how I could be a part of that. And just being a positive light in the community. When you're a business that's involved, we are supposed to better our communities as believers, right? It's supposed to be, we're supposed to add to the, and then God blesses that, because 3 or 4 years ago, this lady from Portland shows up at Shemitza, and she said, I hear that your family has owned multiple Figaro's at one time, and now you have Shemitza. And Shemitza is a known franchise in the Portland area. And at Oregon State, we're looking for a pizza company to be in our new remodeled football stadium. And Shemitza has 3 stands in the Oregon State football stadium. So God answered that prayer, and that's been a hoot.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
I know we're going to be winding down pretty soon. And so, Paula, I'd also like you to share about your speaking and how you're impacting folks in that way.
Yes, I love to do that. Thank you to Bible Study Fellowship. They had excellent training. And so one time that I spoke with that was really awesome was the Albany Chamber of Commerce. They had a women's wine and chocolate night in December. And so I shared there, and God had just led me to talk about Charles Schultz, because when Charles Schultz was alive in Santa Rosa, I think, California, they had Figaro's lasagna every Thanksgiving Eve. Isn't that crazy wonderful? So that was kind of random, but his story and how he started Charlie Brown cartoons was amazing. I've also spoke at retreats over the years. I've spoke to actually the Lebanon Chamber Board. I helped their board work through now strengths, so that they could all see what were the top strengths of board members that they work with, and figure out who was introvert and who was extrovert. Because introverts, they wait to be asked to speak. And so I really like to speak about people finding their strengths and how that works on a team. So does that answer your question, Scott?
Yeah, I love it. That's great. It's just being able to get out and actually connect face to face is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is so important. And Paula, as you know, we were just talking about this. I love speaking to people, and I hear your heart, because it allows us that opportunity. I got to speak at my men's breakfast this last weekend. I get a chance to get out to big businesses and big conferences to speak. I remember, we have this in common, I spoke to the women's in business group in Albany also. I did a thing on selfie marketing. Can you even believe it? Hashtag Russ Selfie. There you go. and they loved it. It was
Oh,
so much
sure.
fun. But you know what? As we get ready to wrap things up today, Paula, man, like I said, I truly love your heart and all that you're about. And give us really put a bow on what is the most important thing you believe that we talked about today, your gold nugget of today, and then give everybody a way to get in touch with you because, man, especially about your books and all your speaking and things you're doing, people are going to want to reach out. So take it away.
Thank you. I should say that I've also spoken several churches. And so because the book, Building a Business by Building Relationships, where having a heart for people can turn into profits. People, I've noticed, especially since COVID, people have a really hard time with how to reach out to other people. So one of the most influential books we read in the very beginning of our journey in business was How to Win Friends and Influence People. And even the matter, and you guys know this, Russ, you know this, the most important thing is somebody's name and saying their name, using their name. And churches have lost that. They are afraid. I think that's what it is. I think it's fear. And I think that's where, even though we didn't really talk about it, it is so important for connections. That is the word God has given me for this year, because our oldest granddaughter is going to be a senior next year. And I realize that time is short with her and the need to connect on a deeper level with her so that she will come to Nana when she wants advice or when she has a prayer request. And so connections and knowing that it's not hard, just learning somebody's name, saying their name is where we begin.
Yeah.
I love it. That's great. Great advice for all of us.
Yeah. And what is the best way for people to get in touch with you, Paula?
At this point, the Facebook page, Building a Business by Building Relationships, or my email, which you will never forget, pizzapaula@gmail.com.
Yes, love that. Love Pizza Paula. So, Paula, thank you. Thank you so much for being with us. And what a blessing you are. We're going to say goodbye here on Scream, but hang tight for just a second. We'll chat with you for a couple of minutes after.
Thank you, Paula.
Wow. She is such a blessing, Scott. I just really appreciate her.
You know, being able to actually go into business with your kids. To me, that's just a dream. I think that's wonderful. And then they're all involved in ministry. Talk about a dream and a dream. Everything's happening.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. What a blessing completely. And have your kids involved and in your business and ministry. I couldn't think of anything better. We just want to tell all of you, amazing people like Paula are here every week on the Experience Local, live with Russ and Scott. Not only do we broadcast live at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Texas Standard Time, this then sits on LinkedIn, YouTube forever, Facebook for 30 days. It converts to audio podcasts on all the major platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, whatever your favorite podcast platforms are. And we also broadcast on radio. If you're listening on radio, hello, please reach out online and say hi to us. We broadcast KWIL in Albany, Oregon, and KYKN in Salem, Oregon. Thanks so much for the blessings those radio stations are to us. And Scott, I'm just so thankful. Looking forward to seeing you soon, my friend.
We'll see you in just a couple of days, Russ, over there in Orlando, Florida at PodFest.
That is so right. And I'm excited and thankful. And listen, everybody, please join us next week. We'll be here. And until we see you again, enjoy life and enjoy
your local experience.
That's it.
Thank you for tuning in to the Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Listen to the program on Spotify or wherever you listen to fine podcasts. Join in every Monday live at 9 a.m. Pacific on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Experience Local with Russ and Scott.